All right, all right, all right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the studio. This is Eric Peterson, CTO and founder of CloudZero, and I'm joined today with Francis. I want Francis to introduce himself. Francis and I have been working together for quite some time on a near and dear topic to my heart, unit economics. We're going to get into that. But first, Francis, tell us a little bit about your job. Tell us a little bit of what you're doing over at CleverTap. Just tell us what you love about all this stuff. I want to hear it straight from the man himself.
My name is Francis, and I'm the VP of Infrastructure at CleverTap. Other than provisioning, maintaining, making sure that stuff runs, I'm also responsible for the cost that we incur. We've been working with you guys for the longest time ever.
It's been some of the best times, the best of times, Francis. So
Yes.
yeah. So let's make it longer and longer. But I want to thank you first of all for being a customer. Thank you for pushing us. It's kind of an amazing thing when you actually listen to your customers and help them influence where you're going. And you've had a direct impact on our roadmap. So thank you. So let's talk a little bit about unit economics, unit cost, because that was where we started years ago, honestly, right? And you came to us with some pretty, hard requirements. We're going to send you a lot of data. We're going to send you a lot of stuff. We want to track everything down to the individual so you get that cost per customer. I want to know, and I feel like I should know this, but maybe, tell us a story. How did you come to realize that this was such an important metric in the first place?
This was back in 2020, right? Where we were thinking about unit, like everyone was sort of behind us. What, how much does a customer cost? How much does it cost to service a customer? So our reason for Cloud Zero from the very beginning has been about unit economics. Like we want to know and understand how much does it cost to service a customer. That was December, I think, 2020 when
Yeah,
we did
yeah,
the V1, right?
yeah,
We are at V2 right now. We did a lot of iterations and
yeah.
we've at a really, really good place that,
Mm.
both of us like. It's super agile and we've got about 75, 78% coverage
Yeah,
off the curve right now.
it's amazing, that you could break down all, s like, almost all of your infrastructure down to that individual cost per customer. So how has that changed things for you personally? Like, in terms of how you're prioritizing engineering effort, how you're thinking about your business, how CleverTap is grown over the years. How has that actually, kind of pushed you all to do things differently? Has it been the success that you hoped it for?
So cost to customer is like a finance thing. Um, they deeply care about this. Um, but just because of the way you can slice and dice data and marry and put it together in Cloud Zero, engineers are like, hey, why does this stack and why does this service cost so much? Let's turn it off or let's right size it. There are like very few customers on this stack. Let's do something about it. And this is coming from engineers, not from the infrastructure guys.
Oh, I love it.
I
Yeah.
think we're certainly starting to see this culture where engineers are taking ownership of the cost.
Oh, so I always believe that unit cost would be a key thing for engineers to kind of wrap their mind around it, because at the end of the day, I think engineers just want to do the right thing. They want to serve, deliver great value, serve great stuff to their customers. But it's often really hard to see that context of like, well, I've got a bunch of servers running over here, but what is it doing? What customer is connected to that? Whatever. So are they coming into the console? Are they going, via Slack? Like, how are they getting access to that? Like, what's driving them towards, seeing that? Or they just got curious and started looking over your shoulder and one thing led to another?
No, so internally, something interesting also happened.
Mm.
More and more of our engineers uh, are sort of owning their uh, their service, and so in the process, they started to go and say, "Hey, how much does my service cost?" And just because of the way we are laid out across multiple geographies and all of that kind of stuff, they're like, "Hey, it's cheaper here. Why is it costlier there?" All these interesting things, and then you're like, "Hey, man, this is not supposed to be there." So this is an organic cultural shift that we are seeing where they're like, let's do something about it. And it's now being owned by engineering leads.
Wow. Now, are those guys getting promoted more than the other engineers? Is that the
Um,
secret to getting ahead in this?
I would assume yes.
um, I'd like to think that kind of feeds into there, because at the end of the day, like, they are the ones making. You've heard me say this. Like, every engineering decision is a buying decision, right? They're the ones making those buying decisions. They see the infrastructure, or they kind of forget about it sometimes and not understand they need to come back to it, answering questions like, "Wait a second, there's no customers over there," or "There's only this one customer, and actually they're not even a customer anymore. They're not paying us. Why? What's going on?" I've seen, some folks come to us and realize that their top 10 most expensive customers were actually, prospects, and they hadn't even become customers yet, and then they went and started talking to sales about like, "Hey, how are we gonna actually think about, pricing this," right, from a business perspective. And of course, I can only imagine the looks on folks' faces going, "Wow, how is engineering becoming so strategic to, what we're doing here as a business?" And I mean, you've gotta think about it the same way. I mean, it's clear that you guys do. It's become kind of part of how you kind of rationalize all this. But, as it evolves, what do you see kind of the next step for unit economics within CleverTap or just the world?
We want to drive pricing and packaging decisions, renewals based on real meaningful data, not averaged out across all customers. Because in the SaaS space, you could do funky things that would drive costs. Is just change it. Uh, we recently realized that one of the features that we sent out for like just handed out for free, that stuff is capable of driving like $50,000 in a
Oh,
day.
yeah, yeah,
You
because
know,
it's free and anybody can
and
use it,
you
right?
can you
Yeah.
can use it in a specific way,
Mm.
and this is what will happen. And we're like, oh man, we got to start pricing that. But the ability to break it down, to be able to see it, is step one. If you can see it, then you can start doing these meaningful things. Otherwise, just a big back core. You
Yeah,
don't know what to do with it.
yeah, yeah, it's just this giant iceberg that you're trying to break
Yeah.
apart, and it doesn't make any sense. So, talking about breaking apart that iceberg, like, there was other things that we had to do together, allocating that spend, breaking it apart into the different features and products. Um, how were you doing that before? Before you even started talking, was that just a pipe dream, or a lot of time I talk to people saying, "Oh, I'm going down this road. I've got tags. I'm trying to do this thing." Did you see you know, a path forward there, or was it just like you felt like you were stuck on this treadmill that was never gonna end?
So fortunately for us, we've had the luck of doing this cloud formation, and just because the way it propagates tags via stacks, all of our infrastructure is laid out. That makes sense. It's not like
It's very
the
similar to us too, by the
the
way. We
typos.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. No, exactly when you have some standards around it.
I think you guys got inspired from us.
It might have been. I don't know,
I
we've learned a lot from each other,
I
that's for
know
sure.
it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
We've learned a lot from you guys too.
Oh, well, hopefully we didn't give you any bad habits, but, I mean, obviously we use our own product. We think about this very deeply. Getting to a place where we can confidently say, like, we've got 100% of all of our infrastructure, all of our spend allocated to the right teams. How do you see them, or how do you want them interacting with the platform or interacting with the data? So you talked about them getting curious, starting to look at this. Are they coming in and just getting curious and logging in? Are they seeing Slack messages, or is it, it's just kind of, happen in organic ways? I'm always fascinated to hear how customers have their engineering teams to start to discover, the product and start to see how things work.
So I think for me, the coolest thing has been being able to get like email alerts when an anomaly takes place or is beginning to happen. The ability for CloudZero to learn what is normal and then sort of surface out, hey, we've never seen spend going on for this service in this stack in this specific way. What's going on? And you know this. We've gone through a couple of cases where we've been able to like arrest huge spend that would potentially go that would go haywire if we had to let it run just to the end of the month.
Yeah, like a little needle in the haystack that you would have never noticed, but suddenly it's like glowing red hot, and you're like, "Wait a second, hold on, let me peel that away." And even being able to drill that down, where it's like an individual customer is doing something in a way that you wouldn't expect, and that's a use case that you weren't thinking about, and it's an opportunity to optimize. Um, so, thinking about the future, I want to ask you, as we kind of wrap up here, thinking about the future, what do you think is next on the horizon? We talk about engineering-led optimization, being able to allocate spend, of course, unit economics. What's coming next? Is AI going to change the world? Are we going to all end up working for our AI overlords, or is there something else that is going to evolve in this space? Because I can't help but think that the way that software is being built is changing right now before our eyes, and cost is playing a big part of that. It's kind of influencing a lot of pretty interesting engineering decisions. But how do you think about it? What do you see coming around the corner?
Well, AI aside, um, I think what's going to drive the next year or two is truly cost optimization in the cloud space because it's like I said, it's everything that you do is a buying decision. You unknowingly make these buying decisions, by the way, by the means of just changing an instance type or changing the configuration of how a service order scales. But as the world becomes more cost conscious over the next few years, I think there's going to be like a fundamental focus on how you drive down and get efficiency out of what you spend with your cloud provider.
Efficiency. That's my favorite word right now, actually. How do you drive efficiency? Because, if you could come at it from a lot of different perspectives. You shouldn't necessarily fear spending money in the cloud if you're efficient, right? It's
Yes.
truly an amazing thing.
Yes, but the cloud also makes it super easy for you to like spend money inefficiently, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I think that's there's
yeah.
going to be like a fundamental focus on that.
I couldn't agree more. All right. Well, Francis, that is some insightful stuff. Thank you for coming and sharing your story here. It has been a journey with you, my friend, and
It is.
one that I look forward to for many years to come. I think we literally have kind of broken new ground every year in this world and kind of pushed the envelope in what we could do from a scale perspective. Um, and it's truly amazing to me. So thank you for coming out and speaking to us tonight. It was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you for
So
having me, Eric.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
always good to be with you
We're
guys.
gonna do it again. That's all the time we have today. It was fantastic talking with you, Francis. Thank you so much. We're coming live from the studios here, CloudZero in Las Vegas. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe in the clouds, my friends. Take care.